The following program contains names, places, and events that have been anonymized or fictionalized for the purposes of protection and safety. The following program is provided for entertainment purposes only, and any commentary from the hosts are strictly conjecture and should not be held as making any definitive statements about the truth or identity of any particular individuals or circumstances. If you or a loved one are involved in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 for support.
Happy Dating Detectives Monday. Do you know, Hannah, do you know that some of my followers actually say that to me? They'll be like, Happy Dating Detectives Monday. And I'm like, that's so cool.
Of course. It's a weekly holiday. We have rebranded Mondays as a happy day.
She said it's a weekly holiday. It really is. Anyways, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. Thank you for listening to the Dating Detectives. Thank you for our Patreoners. Thank you to everyone who supports our show. We appreciate all the positive reviews and the 5-star ratings and all that. So if you haven't done that yet, please feel free. I really appreciate that so much.
Yeah, feel free. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And if you're new, we are the Dating Detectives, obviously. And today we have a guest. Yes, nice to meet you. And it's a show dogfish, if you will, because we have some people in the show dog world in this story. So I was like, oh my God, dogfish, show dogfish, show dogfish. But if you're new, dogfish is what we made up for calling a true scam artist in the dating world, more than a catfish, like real deep, not there for what they say they are there for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They lying.
So that's the vocab update. But now we have show dogfish because she does show dogs.
That's actually really clever, show dogfish. I'm not going to lie. You did great.
Thanks. Jessica is our guest. And so she is in a very rural area. And it was probably one of the hardest episodes to
ever record
that we've had.
But listen, if it cuts out, bear with us. Listen, some of us live in my town. I always say that the folks don't even wear shoes to the Walmart. Okay. Like this is a very rural place. So give us some grace, please. Bear with us.
She was recording in her car because, like I mentioned, she has a lot of dogs at home. And also I love Jessica.
Had no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no Wi-Fi. But she listens to the Dating Detectives and she was like, I have a long commute. I always listen in the car. And I was like, well, this feels right then to record in your car because this is where we chat with you every Monday.
Yeah. A lot of our listeners actually listen from their car on their way to work or whatever. And I think that's really cool. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Let us know where you listen.
Yes. But there are some kind of not so great parts about this. And we'll tell you a little bit about part 2 also, because it's going to be a 2-parter. But there's a little bit of it's not animal abuse, but it's not animal abuse, but you guys are real sensitive about the animals, which I really appreciate. So just that. There's
going to be some.
It's sad.
Dog. Yeah. And then also some, just general like family health stuff and dog health stuff. And then some weird stuff after the dog dies. You'll know what we mean. Stuff. You're also going to want to like throw your phone across the room.
It was frustrating to hear her story. It was awful.
This guy, there's also some revenge porn that comes up in part 2. And yeah, it's a crazy, crazy story. And Jessica's great and has such a great sense of humor and tells the story so well. And I'm so excited that she was willing to be vulnerable and share it because, we'll talk about it with her. You'll hear, but she talked a lot about how other guest stories have inspired her and made her feel a little less dumb, a little less alone. You know what I mean? Like all those things that come out when you feel like you've been through this.
And that's what we talk about on every episode. You tell your story and you're creating a sense of community for someone else that you don't even realize. So just thank you for being so brave and sharing your story. And please let us be an ear or a platform for you because you never know when that's going to help someone else just get through whatever they're going through. So we're really grateful.
Well, before we get into it, tell them the email so they can send us their story.
Oh yeah,
if
you would like to submit your story, please email us. The email address is investigate@thedatingdetectivespodcast.com.
Nailed it. All right. Shall we give it to Jessica?
Let's meet Jessica. Let's bring her in. Oh, Jessica, I'm so glad you're here. We would like to give you the floor and let you tell your story. Take us away, Jessica.
Okay, so this all happened sort of the end of 2013. I was 42. For all intents and purposes, I was single. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Like dating?
Not really.
Situationship, as they say.
Kind of a messy ending type situationship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I had my own little grooming business. I've been doing that for 20 years, participated in dog shows and different dog events and raising my dogs for those events. I happened to have one who was awesome. We earned a whole bunch of titles in a bunch of different events. So we were featured in this annual magazine. Various people had seen it, congratulated me, that kind of thing. And one of them happened to be this guy that I kind of knew of him. I hadn't met him, but I'd heard his name. I'd, seen his Facebook profile, that kind of thing, his dogs. And he reached out to me on Facebook Messenger, said, "Hey, congratulations. Good job promoting the breed in a really positive light, whatever."
Are you like famous in the dog show world? Or at that time, were you? She's like, not no. I see it in your eyes.
I just feel like I was a big fish in a little pond, not like a big fish in a big pond, Just
I'm still
kind
impressed.
of
I don't know a lot about it except for what I see after the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade when the dog show comes on. So was he also in this world?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, just kind of polite, pass by communication with him. Nothing that I really thought anything of. Until towards the end of October, I find out that my dad is real sick. I'm not getting 100% of all the information on him at the time. I don't think he wanted to tell me everything. And then the sticky part of this situationship was my ex was still living in my house. Separate bedroom. I went to work. He did his thing, not together. And so my dad starts slowly telling me a little bit more about what's going on with his health. But he specifically says, "Don't tell him. I don't want him to know." So I'm like,
don't tell
okay.
Your ex?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, I have nobody to talk to. And this guy Dylan lived so far away from me that I kind of felt like, well, he can't harm me, He doesn't know who my dad is, anything like that. So I feel a little freer to open up to him. Mm-hmm. So we start chatting more frequently and I start opening up saying, I'm worried about my dad. I don't feel like I know everything that's going on, but to me, it sounds bad. Like I said, he lives in a totally other state. He seems attentive. He seems to want to listen to me. We have the dog thing in common. So I start just pouring my heart out to him about what's going on with my dad and all the mixed emotions that I'm feeling and everything. And we start talking on the phone. We have late night conversations. It progresses to phone calls during the day when I'm at work. I can put my earpiece in and talk, but he's always willing to listen. So I just feel like I finally have, I don't need anybody to do anything or fix anything, but somebody to be there to listen.
This is why so many people are falling in love with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because everybody just wants somebody to listen.
Yes.
And it's so normal, but it can set you up in a scary way. But he seems like he
Right.
was like, you knew who he was. What was his job? Like, what's his background?
At the time that we started talking, I really didn't know that much about what he did for a living. I just knew that we had this group of people that were this team, and they always did really well at the dog events. Obviously, he was a skilled dog trainer. That was, at that time, that was really all I knew about him. He seemed to not have to work a regular job because he could call me at any time. And he could be up really late, like he would be driving to dog events and we'd be talking throughout the night. So it was just like, I really needed to have somebody there to listen to me.
Yeah.
Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. Your information is available all willy-nilly out there on the www. Listen, I'm a private investigator for 20 years, and I can't even begin to tell you how easy it is to get someone's information. Delete Me does all the hard work of wiping you and your family's personal information from data broker websites. And Delete Me knows that your privacy is worth protecting. So you can sign up and provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts will take it from there. And you will get regular personalized privacy reports showing what info they found, where they found it, and what they removed. Again, as someone who is online, and I'm always preaching about keeping yourself safe and safety and all of these things. Privacy is really important. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/datingdetectives and use promo code TDD at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is go to joindeleteme.com/datingdetectives and enter code TDD at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/datingdetectives, code TDD. Have you guys ever woken up sweaty or freezing? I have. It's usually freezing. You guys, I don't know what's going on, but I am cold all the time, and sleeping sometimes gets really uncomfortable, and the temperature in your bedroom can make or break your sleep. And that's why I use Miracle Made sheets. So Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA technology. They use silver infused temperature regulating fabric to help you sleep perfectly all night long. Very super scientific. And also, if you're anything like me and my husband, I'm a cold sleeper, he's a hot sleeper, it'll keep you both at the perfect temperature right where you need it. And because of the antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets stay cleaner and fresher up to 3 times longer than regular sheets. So hello, less laundry, I'll take it. And fewer odors. And also, for the love of everything holy, when you guys know I'm all about makeup and skincare, and I know a lot of us don't wash our face religiously every night, and sometimes your pillowcase can contribute to the bacteria in your face and make it even worse. So please, please, please consider getting Miracle Made, if only for your skincare. They're super luxurious. They're super comfortable and no clogged pores. So you really can't go wrong. Upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Go to trymiracle.com/TDD to try Miracle Made sheets today. You'll save over 40. And when you use promo code TDD, you'll get an extra 20% off plus a free 3-piece towel set. They make an amazing gift, and with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. That's trymiracle.com/TDD, code TDD at checkout. Thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode.
So as I'm starting to find out more about my dad as we go through November, my dad is looking for places to get treatment and finds out that any place close to us can't handle what he's got going on. So we actually have to go to the state where Dylan lives. And I'm like, well, that's quite a coincidence, you know? So my dad makes arrangements, and I'm insistent that I go with him because I didn't feel like I had gotten the whole story. So I wanted to make sure that I was there for the doctors to be able to explain what was going on, what my dad needed, and that I understood.
Yeah.
So I let him know, like, hey, my dad and I are coming down there. My dad's going to be in this hospital and I'm going to be there with them. And he says, that's fantastic. I'll pick you up at the airport. You can stay at my place. We can spend time together. You know, you just seem like the perfect woman, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm not even really hearing some of these things that he's telling me because I'm so fixated on my dad, you know? So towards the end of November, I don't know, maybe a week before Thanksgiving, Dylan says, you know what? I can't wait to meet you. I'm going to come up there. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be a problem because my ex is still living in my house. And I was like, how am I going to handle this? And he's like, don't worry, I'll get a hotel room. You can come and stay with me when you have free time. I just really want to be there for you. And I'm going to take you out to dinner. We're going to, do all these things. We'll spend time together, whatever. I'm like, okay. I honestly could not process all of everything at the time. I'm busy with work. I still have over 10 dogs of my own to take care of. Oh, yeah.
God. Wow.
Yeah, I think I had 12 or 15 at the time. So it's just like a lot going on. It's a really busy season for a dog groomer. So he comes, he stays at this hotel. I go there whenever I can. I usually have to come back home 3 times a day at least, but we're getting to spend some time together, getting to know each other a lot more intimately. And then my ex finds out that I'm seeing someone else. And we have this big argument. I'm like, we've been done for months. I don't understand. I'm just letting you live here until you figure out where you're going to go. Like, what's the big deal? Well, apparently it was a big deal to him. Oof. He's like, I'll find a place to move ASAP. And I'm like, that's great. So Dylan's there for a few days, like the long weekend. He goes back to where he lives and he goes about whatever he does on a daily basis.
Was good that like your first meeting him? Were you like butterflies, big crush, or were you just like, okay, this is nice?
I just remember like feeling really close to him because we had talked on the phone so much and he had made a long trip. And I had created this image in my head of the guy I thought he was based on, late night conversations, whole day conversations. And he was tall, dark, and handsome. So, at first I thought I won. We have all the same interests and I'm smitten and infatuated with this person that I've been talking to. So yeah, it was a wonderful weekend for us. So I'm really looking forward to going out to New Mexico, seeing where he lives, how he lives, getting to know him even better. But I'm anxious the whole time about my dad. So we all go out there. He picks me up at the airport. I tell my dad I have a place to stay. I don't need him to pay for a hotel room. He has my phone. He can contact me anytime. And I know what time the doctor's appointments are, and I will be there. So we go to Dylan's house. Everything is pretty smooth. I get to meet his dogs even better, spend time with him again. We really don't do much, but hang out at his house. He goes to the gym when he wants to. I'm not really into going to the gym at the time, but I'm keeping myself occupied or with my dad at his appointment. So we find out that my dad made the appointment with the wrong people. He was supposed to see an oncologist, a cancer doctor, and he made an appointment with a brain surgeon. So the trip kind of gets cut short. We all fly back, and my dad has it in his head that after the holidays, he's going to go back there after he contacts the right doctors and everything else. Unfortunately, the trip was harder on my dad than everybody expected.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He got pneumonia after the first trip. He was in the hospital for a couple of days. And then like 4 or 5 days go by and he ends up back in the hospital again.
Oh my
I had to
God.
take his DNR papers to that hospital after the first visit and say, this is what my dad's wishes are. If he ends up here again, this is what he wants. This is his signature. But I got a call at like 9:00 at night. It was a snowstorm, blizzard. It's normally like a 20-minute drive there. It took me an hour and a half to get there.
Oh my God.
They did put my dad on a ventilator and kept him breathing until I got there. And then they said, we're going to shut down the ventilator. And he's gone in a very short time after they turned that off.
That sounds like all of that, like a whirlwind that happens so fast.
Very fast.
Yeah. Now knowing what he was diagnosed with, they didn't tell me, but they knew, like his girlfriend and his work associate knew back in April of that year that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer. Doing the research, 8 to 15 months. And that was about 8-9 months. So I was grateful that I was able to make the trip with them and, be there in the hospital with them. But I kind of felt robbed. I could have been spending more time with them over the summer.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going through all the emotions, guilt and grief and just feeling like he wanted to stay alive until I got there. And then it took me so long and it was really, and they gave me some of his personal belongings to take home from the hospital. I still have the sweater that he wore to the hospital. And, I said, I don't even know what to do now. So, I go home. Of course, I'm not getting a whole lot of rest and sleep, but, just trying my best to just get through my days. When I knew I was going to be going with my dad to the hospital, a friend of mine from the dog club, who was also a groomer, I had made arrangements with her to take over my grooming because I knew that either my dad was going to stay there and get treatment, or he's going to keep going to doctor's appointments, or I wanted to be with him. Yeah. So at least I didn't have to worry about grooming dogs, but I also didn't have an income. So I'm just...
Which is troublesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I have, 12, 15 dogs to feed. So as I'm driving home, all I'm thinking of is, I need somebody. So of course I pick up the phone and I call Dylan and he answered, middle of the night. And I tell him my dad passed and I'm exhausted and I don't know what I'm thinking or feeling. I'm just a mess. So within 24 hours, he's on my doorstep, which at the time I was so grateful to have somebody there and just, somebody to lean on. But then I start getting the calls about his personal effects and his trust and his will and his properties and, all of the real stuff that has to go on.
Admin. People don't.
Yeah.
The hard stuff.
So hard.
Yep. He has dogs and he has people on his payroll and he has things to take care of. So fortunately, there was a trustee in charge of the majority of it, but there were still things that I had to deal with and the funeral arrangements. And I'm not thinking clearly. So I'm not thinking, life insurance policy. But then after a while, I'm thinking, okay, I'm kind of screwed here now. I have no way to pay my bills. So I contact the trustee and I'm like, what did he leave? And I'm still at least kind of cautious enough that I don't talk too much to Dylan about this. So he tells me a few days later that he's going to go back to where he lives deal with some business so that he can get his residual checks or whatever income he had going on. Some of that is still kind of a little bit of a blur because my head was just spinning.
I bet it was.
But on the outside, I was thinking like, why is he able to like drop everything for someone? Not that you guys weren't together, but like, it's almost a green flag that he's like, I have to go home, do a little work, and then maybe I can come back. How long had you been talking at that point?
Maybe a month, 6 weeks at the most.
Oh, okay. Wow, okay.
So, he goes back and then the trustee is starting to say, hey, there's some insurance policies. You can keep your electric on and pay your bills and that kind of thing. So, I managed to pull myself together, go drive to where I needed to sign the policies or whatever it was. Like I said, it's kind of a little bit fuzzy because of what was going on for me. Mm-hmm. But I managed to get some checks so I could keep everything kind of rolling.
Guys, we always talk about how Mackenzie and I both, we're not chefs, okay? We're not meant to be spending all this time in the kitchen. However, because we have Green Chef, it is making it a lot easier for us to eat healthy, eat clean, and do it really fast and have healthy habits. Thank goodness for Green Chef. I'm very excited that we partner with them because Green Chef makes it so easy to spend less time in the kitchen and more time enjoying fall, our favorite season, with their new Heat and Eat meals. You can enjoy delicious, wholesome meals in just 3 minutes. And it's perfect for supporting your wellness journey because they have recipes that are fresh, organic, seasonal produce, and 100% responsibly sourced proteins to help you feel your best. Recently, I made the Moroccan spice tilapia with couscous, which, I know fish is very healthy, but fish is kind of like, I don't know, I'll either buy it and freeze it and then forget I have it or make it wrong. So this was so good. And I felt like I was a real chef, guys. I'm a Green Chef. Green Chef's real clean ingredients help you build lasting healthy habits without the hassle. They have salads that you can have ready in just 5 minutes or protein-filled breakfasts, nutrient-rich smoothies. Green Chef is ready to nurture any of your nutritional needs. With 80-plus dietitian-approved weekly meal options, Green Chef makes it easy to find meals that fit your lifestyle. Mediterranean, gluten-free, plant-based, protein-heavy, even gut and brain health, and calorie-smart choices. And the recipes change every week. Flexible, you're never going to get bored. Make this fall your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50datingdetectives and use code 50datingdetectives to get 50% off your first month. Then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50datingdetectives at greenchef.com/50datingdetectives. I can't get over how good the Skims soft lounge pajama set is. In fact, I was out to dinner with our producer, Molly, and her fiance, Elise. And Elise and I were just talking about how not only are they so comfortable, but they somehow make butts look so good. And then Molly and I were like, but how do they do that? Because they're so loose and the leg part is like loose and flowy and doesn't feel tight. But then the butt part like is it's hugging all the right places. I don't really know how it's done, but I have been wearing them too much. I got them in gray. They're just the best, softest pajamas that I've really ever had. And I think a lot of the Skims clothes, like the bras, the basics, are great because they work for a lot of different body types. And I've heard from a lot of friends that it's sometimes the only fit that they've been able to find that they really feel genuinely comfortable and sexy in. So I think that's important. And Skims is also just like really cute. Like everything is cute. Also, the holidays are coming up. Matching pajamas, now is the time. And this is such a good gift for anybody. They have women's, men's, kids, pets. So many options. Go check it out. But I have to just rave again about the soft lounge sleep set. If you get any pajamas, get those. Shop our favorite pajamas at skims.com. And after you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts for everyone on your list, the Skims holiday shop is now open at skims.com.
So he was there for the funeral. I don't remember if he came back but he's like in and out all the time. He would say things like, I'm sure your dad wouldn't want you to be alone. Your dad would want somebody to take care of you and help you with all these things and give you a better life. And he just, I think he kind of used, I don't have any brothers and sisters. I don't come from a big family. So it was really me being by myself at that time. And he would always make reference to me being alone. And then the next thing I know, he starts sending me pictures of like loose diamonds on a black pad. Like if you were going to go to a high-end jewelry store and pick out the quality of diamond that you want, the size of diamond, and then you can pick out your setting. So he starts sending me these pictures of these diamonds on the black pad and constantly texting or calling. And again, I'm so overwhelmed with all of this. Like, I didn't know that my dad had all the things that he had and all the properties. And, then I start to think about all the stuff that's in his house. And he owned my grandma's house and that had to be cleaned out. And just like, I was overwhelmed with the amount of things that it looked like were facing me. So I'm dealing with all that, but I'm also getting these constant barrage of text messages and phone calls. And then all of a sudden comes I'm in love with you. I want to marry you.
The diamond or the love? Did he say I love you first or then start sending diamonds?
Yeah, I think he said he loved me first. And it was all such a chaotic.
It's a blur, I guess. Yeah. I think even just them being close together at all is a little too quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not even really sure how I'm feeling in any moment during December and early January about my dad. And then to be bombarded with all this, oh, you're perfect. We'll be a power couple. I want to take care of you. It was just such a whirlwind. And I look back at it now and go, wow, I can't even believe I got through that, halfway sane. So it was only maybe 2 weeks later, he tells me he's coming up and we're going to spend some time together. He wants to talk to me. And he shows up with this, it was precious, but it was a little like pearl ring. Totally not what he had led up to this diamond. It was actually his mother's ring. It was the ring, I think,
that's sweet.
Was to his mother with. So me being
why was he sending you all those diamond pictures?
If he was going to bring you a pearl.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because I was like, oh, I don't need all that. Like, that's too much. Yeah, I was just, I'm pretty simple. So like, I don't need some big diamond and, it just
also,
all felt
were you excited by that? Or were you just kind of, I feel like that response is a nice way to be like, I'm not there. I'm not interested in a ring now, but thank you. Like, oh no, that's too much. Like in a way, that's like a nice way of kind of talking him down. Or were you like, bring it on?
Part of me, I think, was in disbelief because it had been so soon. Yeah. And like, I'm a dog girl, country girl. What am I going to do with this big thing on my, like, I'm not going to be able to wear it when I'm working with my dog. And I was just like,
yep.
It's a really sweet pipe dream kind of thing. And, but I didn't think he would actually go through with it. I thought maybe it was a romantic thing that, oh, you're worth all this to me and whatever. And I would kind of wondered where it was, and I had never seen him spend an exorbitant amount of money on anything. So
it didn't seem okay.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever. But I'm kind of in shock when he literally got down on one knee, presented the ring, and asked me to marry him. And, I'm kind of dumbfounded. Like, did he really, like, he's on his knees. Okay, I don't want a big dramatic scene right now. So, I'm thinking, okay, we have a year-long engagement, 2 years, whatever. Why not? I don't need that. We don't need big drama. We'll just, I'll wear your little pearl ring. You can call me your fiance. I've got way more important stuff to deal with. And, it, not to be kind of egotistical about it, but it's not the first engagement ring I received.
I was going to just ask. I was going to say, have you been engaged before?
I mean, I had been married. I was in my 40s. Of course I had been proposed to. So, I was just like, okay, great. So he doesn't stick around long again, and he goes back. And then it's talk of the future and what we're going to do and where we're going to go. And, we're going to be, again, this big power couple. And he starts showing me real estate listing. And, we should sell both our houses and move into this house, or we should buy that house.
He's on it. He's like, let's go.
Absolutely. Like and I'm still trying to get my feet securely underneath me. So, his house is nice. And of course, where he lives, it's probably worth 3 times the amount that my little country home is worth. But, it was mine. And so I'm still a little hesitant and just kind of pushing it off. Like, we could look at some houses next time I happen to come down there, or, are you sure that's where we want to be? Maybe a different state. I don't know. But it's easy and fun to get caught up in all of the dreaming of the future. So,
it is.
Oh, so true.
So I have a young girl, an adult, but young, who comes to stay with me and help me take care of my dogs, because some days are just really hard to get out of bed. I'm having sleepless nights. I'm trying to wrap my head around everything that I'm learning about my dad's estate and the will. And, it's just this huge thing. And so I've got to get a lawyer. We've got to have meetings with all the lawyers. And, he's still, it's like messages, text messages all the time, or we're on the phone together. He'll call me while he's at the gym, or he'll call me while he's working dogs, or he's still traveling to dog events and he'll call me while he's on the road for that. We are in constant contact. So it's winter in Wisconsin, and I'm driving around in a 10 or 12-year-old minivan with probably 250 plus thousand miles on it. And I knew I needed a new vehicle, but I wasn't in a huge hurry. I would have probably bought a newer minivan because they were so practical for hauling a bunch of dogs around. But, he's like, oh, you'll really love a Suburban. They're great. I can fit 3-4 dogs in them. We can just have the back seat taken out, and, you can fit at least 4 dog crates in it, and then we'll match. And he was driving a Suburban at the time. He found one that had 4-wheel drive for me, because where I lived, we got a lot of snow. I lived out in the country. So a 4-wheel drive for me was really beneficial. I'd never had a vehicle that nice. My vehicles were always at least 5, 6, 7 years old, with 100,000 miles on them. And so I was tickled to be able to afford something that, it was a few years old, but it wasn't as old as what I was used to. So I guess he'd been looking online. I don't know. I really don't know how he found it, or he just came across one and said, here we go. This is perfect for you. And he tells me to go look at it. So I go and look at it, but the place is closed. I'm like, why did you have to go when they were closed? He goes, well, I just wanted to make sure he liked it. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then he says, well, so we haven't agreed on a price yet. So you should just wire me $40,000. And
how many thousand?
40.
What?
No. He knows I got a substantial life insurance check. He's the man of the relationship, and he'll
But
get
why
the
does he
deal
need the
done.
money now? Why can't he wait until the deal is done? And then you can send it to the person selling you the car. Okay. All right. Okay.
Well, had I been in my right mind, that probably would have been a question I asked. But
yeah, you're so overwhelmed.
Yeah. So I get his information, and stupidly, I wire him the money. Because he says if he has the whole amount, he can get them down to a better deal. And,
Sure.
men are better at haggling.
He says that.
Whatever.
Ick.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So there was probably some longer drawn out explanation to it, but I just like, okay, this is one thing I can take care of just to get it off my plate because I have so much. So I wire him the money. I don't know if it was the next day or 2 days later, here the truck appears. They bring it to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, okay. So he's not kidding. I have this beautiful, it's only a couple of years old, beautiful truck now. I can, haul dogs and I drive safely and, it doesn't have a million miles on it. I'm like super stoked about it. And he starts sending me the t-shirts and the sweatshirts with his team logo on it. And, I'm going to get you logos for the truck to match mine. And we'll show up at dog events and we're the power couples with the matching cars and all this.
Oh.
And I'm sort of kind of zoned out at this point. I'm like, yeah, great. That's wonderful. Awesome. I have to go to this, and I have to do this and I have to do that. And they're cleaning out my dad's house and I'm having to go pick up boxes and stuff and all of this. And there was a temporary plate put on the back of the vehicle so that I could operate it legally. But I forget how long they're good for. I don't know if they're only good for like 30 days or something like that. And it would get to the point where it was expiring or expired. And I would say, hey, I need to put my license plates. I actually had personalized plates on my vehicle and I kind of wanted to transfer them over. That was my one little kind of treat to myself with my personalized plates. I wanted to put regular license plates so that I wouldn't have to be trying to figure out. And I couldn't understand. I had sent him all the money. So why don't I have a title? And why can't I put my license plates on this vehicle? But at first he was just real dismissive whenever I would ask about it. And then he just started to get angry and kind of trained me to not ask questions about it. But it never sat right with me. And I would bring it up, but very briefly so as not to anger him significantly.
You guys, the holidays can be super stressful, especially financially, between travel and gifts and hosting and entertaining, you name it. It's easy to lose sight of your money and financial responsibility this time of year, but really kind of all over. If you want to keep your finances under control this holiday season, you need to be using Monarch. Rated Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or your phone. And right now, just for our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. So if you're someone like most people who put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. It does all the heavy lifting, links all your bank accounts, gives you clear data visuals, categorizes your spending. I really don't, I don't like to see my categories because I'm like, oh, great, retail. But you'll never need to touch a spreadsheet again. And don't leave money on the table. It'll help you remember like what subscriptions you have and stuff like that. And Monarch can help you and your partner together. So it can give you guys both full access to your shared dashboard, including your linked accounts and your budgets, goals, spending activity, all in one place together. And fights about money are the number one reason that relationships fall apart. So no more guessing and hiding. And I didn't realize we spent that much. And we all know we've been there. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code DATING at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code DATING. The holidays are just around the corner. They're here. Let's be real. The holidays are here and we need to start decorating. And if anybody knows that more than anyone, it's me. I love, love, love to find decor to decorate my house and get the house ready for festive season. Wayfair's Black Friday sale is the perfect time to score huge deals on all things home, no matter what your style is. I've been shopping from Wayfair for years and I absolutely love them. Their shipping is fast and it's just, you can find everything there. From sofas to spatulas, you name it, they have it. You can actually shop right now. Wayfair's can't miss Black Friday deals all month long. You can sit back and relax with Wayfair's fast and easy shipping just in time for the holidays. And then if you're like me, you have to get a shed in the backyard and have a place to store things, but that's neither here nor there. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday deals for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th.
So then he's like, hey, babe, we need to get our marriage license. And I'm like, we do? Like this already? And he says, well, yeah. And I said, I can't plan a wedding this quick. You know, this is like fast. And he goes, we're just going to get married at the courthouse. We'll have a big party later when we move into our house and da-da-da. And
he is wanting to legally bind himself to you.
Yeah. Yep. We'll do like
that's terrible.
Dog shows for our honeymoon. And, you know, we'll just take the whole year. And like, as I look back, I'm thinking, how is this even possible? You know I have a little bit of money, but can he? But in the moment, I'm not thinking about any of this. I'm just like totally,
of course,
swept up in everything, but I'm still, you know, okay, but I still have all this stuff to do. There's all these responsibilities. And people have said, people close to me, but not in those exact moments, like friends that I had been close to a year or 2 years earlier were like, that was so out of character for you. Like, you are Miss Independent, Miss Nobody's going to tell you what to do. But, you know, I'd never lost my dad before it.
Of course.
Like, on one side of my head, I'm being told I have to do all these things and this is your responsibility and still take care of your dogs and pay the girl who's helping you and do this and do that. And so he's over here on the other side going, I'll take care of everything. I'll take care of you. You don't have to think about anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Unmet needs. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm just spinning.
Of course you are, you poor thing.
So he drives to me, picks me up, and he said, we're just going to go down and get our marriage license. And I'm thinking, okay, in hindsight, I'm asking myself, well, how long are these things good for? But at the moment, I'm just like, okay, this is another thing on my plate. We have to go do this. We'll get this done. And then I'll be able to come back and focus on what I have immediately to do here. So go get the marriage license. And on the way, we stay there like a day or two. Nothing really stood out. It wasn't, you know, like he went to the gym and ordered food. We work dogs, whatever. And then head back. And it's, you know, it's a considerable drive. So, you know, we have time in the car to talk about our future and everything that was going on with my dad. And he would still listen. He was attentive. And then I kind of mentioned like, okay, so like, what are we talking for timing? Because I kind of need to know if you want to be gone on this like honeymoon dog trial trip. Like I have to kind of arrange everything. And he just was like, I wasn't allowed to question him and I should just always have a bag packed and be ready to go at his whim. And, you know, like I wasn't saying, no, I don't want to go there on that day. It was just, hey, can you lay this out for me so I have an idea because I have dogs at home I have to take care of. I have meetings that I have to attend. I have things that I have to do for the estate, clear things out, that kind of thing. And he just flew into this just weird rate. Like, it was so uncalled for. All I was doing was asking for a simple timeline, like, where are we going? What states are we going to? How many days are we spending in each place? That was all I was trying to ask for. And he just said, you know what? If you're not going to go, you don't want to go, then you don't have to. We don't even have to get married. And he just took the beautiful marriage license and ripped it up, rolled down his window and chucked it out the window. We were going down the highway and he rolls his window down and lets the wind take it. And it was so odd because I wasn't pitching a fit. Like, I didn't want to go. It was none of that. And I'm like, you have totally overreacted and blown this way out of proportion. Like, I would have never expected a reaction like that out of anyone, much less him, because I'd never seen that side of it. I'm like, who is this guy that I'm now in a vehicle with?
Yeah, but
and I'm
crazy
engaged.
that he waited until the moment you had a marriage license to flip the switch. It's like that within the hour of getting it more solidified in some ways.
And so I just kind of sat there and didn't say anything for the rest of the drive. And it was pretty much hours. And he'd put his earpiece in and he'd call other people. And I could hear him talking about business and this person and that person and whatever. And I just sat stone silent. So, my dog sitter or whatever is still at my house, and we get there. And so I grab my stuff and get out and go inside. He's on the phone. So I'm thinking, all right, cool. And I get inside and my girlfriend's like, I can just tell by looking at you what is going on. And I kind of condensed it, but it was just like, he freaked out. I don't know what just happened, but I think I need some time to myself. And she's like, well, he's still sitting out in the driveway. And I said, yeah, I should. And talked to him. And he was still on the phone. And I walked out to the driver's side and he rolls down his window. And I said, are you still on the phone? Real quietly. And he nods yes. And I put up 2 fingers. I'm like, I need 2 minutes. And so I could hear him saying, hey man, just give me a minute. I got to switch over. I'll be right back. Don't hang up. And so he just puts it on mute and he's like, what's up? And I'm like, I just don't really understand what happened back there. And I just kind of need a little bit of time for myself right now to process with everything I've got going on with my dad. I'm not sure where I'm at or what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know that you want to take the time to explain it to me now. He goes, that's fine. I'm on the phone. I'm headed back home now anyway. I have some business to take care of. And I'm like, okay. And I'll call you when I'm done. I'll let you know that I get there safe. I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. And I just remember neither one of us said, I love you. So it was just like he lost and that was it. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to think or feel, or I'm already numb. Can now this, like that gurgly stomach butterflies, but not the good butterflies. And I'm just thinking, you know what? I think this is a mistake. I think we should just end this. The marriage license is out the window now. I go back in the house and I explain a little bit more. We talk about it and I was like, I don't, I kind of don't, I want to get my mind off of things right now. Let's just sit down and watch find on TV, and I want to pet my dogs and just chill out. So a whole day goes by and I don't hear from him. But I know that if he had driven straight through, which was his habit, he just drove straight through. He'd stop once or twice to go to the bathroom, get something to drink, and that was it. He would just power through. I'm like, I know that he made it back to his house already. Mm-hmm. But I don't have a text. I don't have a phone call, nothing. And so there was a part of me that was relieved, but there's also that part that's like a little bit panicked. Like, this is a dude I was just promised to marry. And now, like, what's going on? And I remember thinking, that's crazy. Like, get a grip. So, I'm surprised that he hasn't contacted you, because I could just tell he's really in love with you and this and that. And I'm like, I must have looked at her funny, because I'm like, what? And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And she says, well, it just doesn't seem like him. Every time I've talked to him or anything he's ever said to me, he's just madly in love with you and wants to get you this beautiful house, and you guys have this beautiful facility. And I was like, what do you mean every time you talk to him? And she's like, well, he messaged me on Facebook and asked for my phone number, said that he wanted to talk to me. And I'm like, well, why would you give him your phone number? She goes, well, I don't know. You guys are, together, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. And he said that I might be able to help plan some things or whatever it was. And I still just thought it was kind of weird that he reached out to her like that. But I mean, I guess I could see, if he wanted to do something, or, she's taking care of my dogs. If we're off together, he should have her phone number. Something happened to me. So I didn't think too much of it at the time. But looking back, I thought, it's weird that he didn't say anything to me about it. That's what I found the strangest. And that whole scene in the truck just makes me wonder, like, is there a lot more?
Yeah. He's a little bit woohoo. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so another day goes by, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I need closure or if I just want to know that he made it there safe. It's just weird. And I feel like I have to reach out. So I send him a text, and it was something just, pretty benign. Like, did you make it home safe? Are you okay? Whatever. And he immediately calls me. He's like, oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I was just really busy. I'm trying to get stuff going here.
Okay, fella.
And there was always some good explanation for either why he didn't call me or what he was doing or whatever.
And I said, well, I'm kind of confused, because I kind of thought that, the whole marriage license and the way we left things, I thought that it was off. And I'm really having a hard time processing the way that he reacted and throwing the marriage license out. And
yeah, he went like full Hulk
that's
mode.
Freaking weird.
He's like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me. I've never loved anybody like you, and I just feel so strongly, and people really be like the perfect couple, and I've never met anybody who's so perfect for me.
I've never loved anybody like you as an excuse for justifying like anger and abuse.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Gaslighting.
He starts with the, dozen roses and flowers, and FedExing me like overnight, beautiful, flowery, wonderful cards filled with I love yous, and, we have such a wonderful future and all of this stuff. And I'm just kind of sitting here trying to, like, I can't even process this all. I'm so overwhelmed with everything. And
wow,
I just was, even if I'd sit down and try and watch TV or something, there's no way I could train my dogs. And I was just, I feel like I sat down and just stared out the window, or, went to meet this person, or went to my dad's house and picked up this stuff. And I was just sort of on autopilot the whole time. It's only, 4 or 5 days later, and he shows up at my house. Now, I'm sure we've had conversations over the 4 days. Sure, he's probably kind of gotten an idea what my days are like. I wasn't thinking too much about it, just, taking care of my responsibilities. And he just shows up. I happen to be home, and he's like, hey, babe, are you packed? Are you ready? And I'm like, packed for what? doing? He goes, well, we're going to go get married. And I'm like, what?
When did he tell you that?
Sorry, what?
When he arrived at my... Nope.
You didn't get an invite to your own wedding, is what I'm hearing. He just showed up.
Like, I don't remember us having this hard-ass conversation about it. He's like, well, don't you remember? You said we were going to go and meet my mom after we get married. I've told her all about you, and she's really excited to meet you. And, this is planned. And I can't even fight back at the time because I'm not mentally coherent to even formulate an argument. And I was kind of afraid to be alone. And he would bring it up, and I'm sure your dad wouldn't want you to be alone. I'm sure that your dad wouldn't have wanted you to go through all this by yourself. And I was grieving, and I hadn't had a chance to really grieve him. So, but I wasn't thinking straight, and I'm thinking, okay, here's this person who's going to be on my side no matter what happens. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And
so I walk in the house and I'm like, well, I guess I'm packing, and I have no idea how long to pack for.
But I know that his mom lives half a day away from where he lived. So I figured, well, I better pack at least for 3, 4, maybe 5 days. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So we get to New Mexico. We get all settled at his house. And the next day we get up, get dressed. Like, I have nothing special to wear. So I just, have kind of a short sleeve blouse and a pair of jeans. We go to the courthouse, and I think he got a duplicate marriage certificate or marriage license or something. And we're standing there with all these other couples, and I'm just, I don't even know what's happening right now. Like, I'm numb. And so, we're just in a courtroom. It's just nothing, it's another day.
And so it's all about over with. And I don't even remember saying I do. Everything was a blur.
But I remember us walking out of the courthouse building, and he's like, oh, we're just going to go to I don't know, like an IHOP or something like that. We're just going to have breakfast for lunch, and then we're going to go back to the house, and then I'm going to go to the gym. Like, it was just an ordinary day. Nothing special had just happened.
So did he, right after you guys got married, did it seem like he just lost interest in you and he was like, okay, that's it?
Yep. Cold, distant, served my purpose in that moment, and just go do what you need to do. I'm going to go do what I need to do. And then when I need you to fill a role, I'll let you know. But
what?
He had picked me up, so I have no access to I have no way to get out of there. I can't, I'm stuck. I was with it enough to know that there was a side that I didn't want to see, and I felt very, very vulnerable, not having a way to get away from him. So, I just kind of keep myself busy doing things around his house, dealing with the dogs that were there. So we go to visit his mom, and now I'm thinking back. We did go back and get my truck before we went and visited her. See, it's some things are still fuzzy and blurry. And then as I'm through exactly what happened, I have to go back and go, no, wait a minute. You did go back. So we did go back after we got married. I got my truck, and I think I took 4 of my dogs with me, and he had his too. And then we go to visit his mom. And I don't even honestly know how to explain her. She's just very eccentric. She had this real cute little bungalow house, and the yard was perfect, and the shrubs and everything were perfect. But there were windows that had cracks, the big spiderweb cracks in them, multiple windows. And I thought, oh, did that just happen? And I'm thinking these things to myself because I'm afraid to say too much. I don't.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of walking on eggshells around him, afraid to ask things. I know that his mother is super important to him. So, I don't want to say anything to offend her. And she just kind of walks around in a house coat and slippers all day. She spends a lot of time in her room, doesn't talk to me a lot. And one of the things that was really odd to me was that she had him sleep in his bedroom and I slept in a guest bedroom, even though we were married.
She sounds definitely odd.
So
is that her only child?
Yeah. And
shocker.
Yes. And I find out later in talking to her, like the next day or two, that she had a lot of trouble conceiving, that she was really blessed when she had him. It was a difficult pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. So that's her baby. And so the next day he goes to the gym there and leaves me alone with her. And I'm, trying to converse with this woman and trying to get to know her a little bit and just try to be friendly. This is my mother-in-law. And, I want to have a relationship with her. And it occurs to me that the keys aren't in the ignition in my truck. And I thought, okay, well, I'm sure I pulled them out of my truck, not wanting to leave keys in my truck, lock the doors, whatever.
Yeah.
So I start digging through my purse and I had like this big black leather bucket purse, way too big. Can never find anything. And I'm like digging through.
That's right.
I can't find, where are my keys? I can't find my keys. What if I want to move my truck? What if I want to go to the gas station? Like, where are my keys? And I'm having to, take my dogs to go potty and walk them around and do their thing in her little tiny yard. And I don't know where he is. Like, I'm trying to text him. I have no keys. I really don't like this. And I call the girl who is babysitting my dogs and I tell her, I'm like, I think Dylan takes my key and I don't have my keys and I can't go anywhere. I can't leave. And I can't even lock the truck. If I feel like I need to lock the truck. And so I'm really, really starting to get like freaked out and weirded out. And I don't like this and I don't know what to do. And I just needed to tell somebody. And a little while later, he comes back and I'm like, honey, where were you? I tried to be sweet and not set off anything. And he's like, well, I was at the gym. I'm like, did you take the keys to my truck? He goes, yeah, why? You don't need them. You're not going anywhere. And I'm like, well, but what if I just like wanted to go get a soda or wanted to get some food or whatever? And he tells me that he had my keys, but I didn't need them, that anything that I would have needed, his mom would have taken care of. So when I realized that he was taking my keys on a regular basis and leaving me completely stranded, and I have my dogs and I can't go anywhere and do anything, I'm thinking, I think I just made a huge mistake and I got to get out of this. And I really just wanted to I didn't want to go on the trip. I didn't want to go any farther. I just wanted to go back home. And in all honesty, I probably knew before I married him that this could be a mistake, but he was real good at explaining himself and spinning it into, I'm just so afraid to lose you. And I just thought we had this all planned out. And, he would say things like that. Like we've talked about this. I thought we had this all planned out. But at the time I was a little bit forgetful. I'll admit that. I have a lot that I'm trying to deal with. So I wasn't always thinking straight, and he would want to talk late into the night. So I wasn't getting a whole lot of sleep either. Anytime we were apart, it was like we were on the phone all day and night. But the key thing was really bothersome for me, not being able to just drive to a gas station to get a soda, or if my dogs were in need of anything, that was a big deal for me. I had always been really, really independent. I had been single from the time I was about 22 until I married him. So, I had dated, but I had my own home, had my own business. I was in charge of my own life and my own destiny. And so to be able to be feeling so vulnerable and controlled, that really didn't sit well with me, but I had nobody else, and he always would talk about, this is you and me, and, you ride or die. That was a big phrase he used all the time, was ride or die, and always got your back, and loyalty is a big deal. And now you're my family, and I'm going to take care of everything, and you've got enough on your plate. Don't want you to worry about other things. But he was heaping extra things onto my plate that I was really starting to worry about. And so, after the day with his mom, I was like, I just don't like this. I have to figure out a way to address this with him that isn't going to send him into this, this rage, but I'm just not okay with it. And we're leaving the state that his mom lives in, and we're going, I don't know, it's probably a 6-hour drive or so to another state where there's an event that I don't really participate in that particular venue with my dogs, but it's something that he is highly titled in and his dogs excelled in. So we're going to go to that. He puts the keys in my ignition as I'm, getting my dogs ready to get loaded and everything. And he gets in my truck and programs the GPS to the address of the hotel that we're going to. So, I'm thinking my mind is racing that whole morning, trying to figure out how is there any way I could possibly get away from him? I'm thinking, well, could I outrun him? We both are driving similar vehicles, but could I outrun him? Could I outdrive him? What? And then I remember that I have temporary tags on my vehicle. That starts to make me a little nervous. I'm always worried that they're going to expire, that I'm going to get pulled over with them. And then I'm thinking, how would I explain it that I'm trying to get away from my husband? That, it doesn't make any sense. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I have to get in my truck and drive to this next state and the next hotel. But at least for the next however many hours, I'm not sitting next to him in a vehicle. I know I'm at least safe in my own vehicle, not with him. So I was like, okay, well, maybe if I can just make it through the next week or so, if I just don't say anything, I won't make him angry. I won't question him, just kind of ride it out, just to keep my dogs and I safe until I can figure out a way to get out of it. So that was what we did. We just drove to the next hotel. And then the next day we went to the event venue where they were holding the event for the dogs. So at the event, he's all good, because he's kind of the star. I am just trying to stay out of his way, help him if he needs it, but he really doesn't. So, he kind of does his thing. I'm on the sidelines or by my vehicle, letting my dogs in and out, getting them pottied, giving them food, giving them water, just keeping myself busy and out of his way. When he would be up to perform, I would go in and clap for him because that was what was expected. I have to be the supportive teammate and wife. But when he was waiting his turn, I would just stay back by my truck and keep an eye on my dogs and all that. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was kind of mid to late day. That's when I got a phone call from my dog sitter that one of my dogs was pretty ill, not doing well, and she didn't know what to do, calling me for advice like, hey, what do you want me to do? This is what's going on. So I told her where the emergency vet was. I said, I'm going to hang up and send you a screenshot with the address. If you can GPS it, I will call them and give them a heads up that you're coming and what's going on. I'll give them my debit card number so that they know everything is paid for. So I did that, send her the address and everything. Now we're going texting back and forth that she's got him in the car. She's on the way. I knew how long it should take her to get there and everything. So now I'm nervous and stressed out. People are starting to notice that I'm visibly upset about something. He comes over to ask me what's going on. And I tell him I got the phone call. One of my dogs is not doing well. Explain the situation to him. And he's like, oh, well, she'll handle it. If she's got him to the vet, there's really nothing you can do. Just let the vets take care of it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's nothing I can do. By the time I would get home, it's too late. So I said, I'm just going to wait for her to message me or wait for them to call. But I'm obviously really, really worried about him and stressed out about it. And, I'm already stressed because I really don't want to be there. So it only takes probably 2 hours or so for them to call me and tell me that he's really bad. It's very serious. They don't know what they can do for him, but that, they're going to try a couple of things. I'm like, okay, I want to go home. I just want to go home. And that's all I want. All I was thinking about was like, I told him, I want to go home. I think I need to go and be there. He's like, well, what's going on? You can't do anything. And I just said, I need to be there. I need to go home. This is my dog. He's sick. He's at the emergency vet. I need to go. So you could tell that he was irritated by it, but because there were so many other dog people around that, anybody else, they would have gone, they would have left and gone home. So I think he knew that he couldn't cause a scene or say, no, you can't go, because everybody would have just expected it. So I just got in my truck and punched in my address at home, the GPS, and got out of there. And that was not how I wanted to come up with an excuse to go home, but I was going to use it. And he ended up, there was nothing they could do to help him. He was too far gone, and found out that, they were just going to have to put him down. And I said it would, it'd be selfish of me to make them keep him alive until I could get there, because it was about a 10-hour drive. And I just said, if my girlfriend can at least be there with him, because he knows her, she knows him, somebody provide him some comfort, I'll let him go. But of course, I felt horrible. I felt guilty and responsible and should have been there for him. But at least I was on the way home at that point. So, but of course, my phone is blowing up with him, messaging me and calling and everything else. And so luckily he was kind of distracted by doing his thing. So I could just kind of drive in a little bit of peace and try and hurry home. And I got home late at night, 10 or 11 o'clock that night. And I just get the dogs taken care of, get them back in the house, get them exercised and back to their house crates. And I'm exhausted. And, I felt like I could breathe again being at home. So I just wanted to get some sleep because I wasn't sleeping good. I was completely stressed out. So the next day we get up and take care of all the dogs and the animals and everything, and have some coffee and sit down. And my girlfriend says, hey, I have to tell you something. And my immediate thought was, there's something else wrong with one of my dogs. What else? She's like, no, everything is fine with the dogs. But the day before your dog got sick, there was a guy here. He was apparently a process server trying to serve Dylan with a lawsuit, with papers for a lawsuit, a subpoena or something. She didn't know exactly what it was, but they had asked for him specifically by name and had a manila envelope with papers that they wanted to give to him. And I'm like, what? She said, yeah, I kind of tried to ask him some questions, but I really didn't know what to ask. So I'm like, well, what is this about? She said, I asked the guy, what is this about? And he really didn't want to say too much, but he said, that there's some papers, there's a lawsuit or something. She said, I don't know. I really didn't understand it all. She was very young. She was like 18 or 19 years old, probably scared, not knowing what was going on. So I was like, what? So I believed her. Like, I knew that there was enough truth in her story that something was going on. So I was like, okay, how do I find out? And how would they have even known that he was at my house? Like, how would they have put us together? And so the only thing I could come up with was, there was a paper trail for the marriage license and for the marriage. So I thought, okay, it had to have been somebody from the state that he lived in. How do I find lawsuits or legal cases or anything like that? Like, how would I even go about finding that? So I called the attorney that I had been using to deal with my father's estate and asked her. And she said, well, probably depends on whether the state has like local circuit court access pages or if it's statewide or whatever. So, I'm just typing in anything that I could think of, trying to find out, like, what is this lawsuit that he's involved in? And I was able to find out that, yes, the county that he resided in did have a website that would provide, whether there were documents or I was still trying to navigate and find all the information, but I was slowly starting to piece things together that there, in fact, was a lawsuit against him in the county that he lived in. And it was like right before he wanted to come back to my house that I had been able to figure out that, yes, you can actually see the documents that they scanned in when they filed the case. And I could read through it all. I think I even had to print it out to make sense of it because I'm not accustomed to reading legal documents myself. And so, to just figure out what everything was about. But I think I probably yelled for my girlfriend to, you're not going to believe this. Look at this. It's $2 million for fraud.
Oh my God.
And I was freaking out because I'm like, $2 million, like, who's responsible for that? Now I'm married to the guy. Does that mean my assets are in jeopardy if he's found guilty? So I just was like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble.
Oh no.
What is this guy's deal? Oh my God. He ought to be ashamed of himself.
Just so y'all know, we usually record episodes in one sitting and then the editing determines how long it's going to be. In this case, because of some of the connection issues, we don't know the end of the story either. Molly told us it's wild, but at the time of this episode coming out on Monday, we're with you. So please send us all your questions and we can try to ask Jessica as we talk to her again.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the edge of my seat.
I know. I really want to know I hate being left in the dark, but also I feel good about knowing that we are left in the dark just like you guys. And you
we have
can
to suffer too.
Yeah, we have to suffer too. We're suffering together.
We're going to do a very thorough Dogfish debrief, which is when we go through parts of the story that we can learn from or just like that we need to digest more at the end of part 2. So, but you have the opportunity to let us know what you want us to talk about in the debrief this week as well. If you want more dating detectives in the meantime, we put out bonus episodes on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. And if you want all of our episodes ad-free, you can pay $9 a month. Yes, for the girlfriend experience. Also, some of you, I know we try to be on top of if there's ever an issue with Patreon. So you can always email us or message us if you have any questions. Honestly, that's what I got for you.
I need to know more. Exactly. I need to hear more of the story. So anyways, until next week, thank you so much. And as always, trust your femtuition.